this is just, again, we're trying to help you guys prevent leads from falling through the cracks. This is probably the number one thing that as a coach to real estate agents over the 35 years I've been doing this, the biggest problem that people have is not a lead problem typically, because you've got so many people in your database, you've got so many people, coming in from websites and stuff like that already. The biggest problem is you don't have the systems in place to continually following up with them, and or you're letting them fall through the cracks. So, somebody that is a good lead doesn't get contacted quick enough and some other agent gets it. That's, the truth of the business. And so what we're trying to do is give you guys the tools to prevent those things from happening. One of the things that we added last week before last, was the missed milestones. And I wanted to explain this one a little bit in today's session, because this can be a really good one for you guys as you're moving through the pipeline. So I'm going to start number one by showing you this. This is how I have it set up. You can set it up in a multitude of ways. You can come in here and click on the little gear and change how it's set up. I'll provide a video link on this later today that shows how to set this up. But think about your pipeline. And to think about the pipeline, I'm actually going to go into the contacts area. And in your contacts, if you click on the little three, we call it the hamburger menu, the three little bars for a more menu, and go to the contact pipeline. Inside the contact pipeline, this shows us the milestone field. It's a drop-down field inside of a contact, and it shows us what is the milestone marker for this particular contact. As you get new people coming into your database, the milestone should be set to new or something like that. If you guys want to rename them, you can go into the settings and change any of these menus, include or exclude any of them that you want, add additional ones if you want. But what you're wanting to do is think about, how do I do my business in a pipeline process, in that a lead comes in as a new lead, maybe like here's Ellen. Ellen comes in new, and then I try to make a phone call. So I'm going to put Ellen here into the call attempted. It's just a pipeline process that I'm going through. Okay. I attempted the call. I did actually make the call, and it's been completed, so I can put it in there, but maybe I didn't set an appointment yet. So as I go through this process, maybe I make another phone call, or, I completed one, but I want to actually try to set an appointment. So at some point I do set the appointment. Well, each time I move that person from point to point, it's changing that milestone setting. So if I actually go right now, we're in the appointment set section. If I double click on Ellen here, and I look at the milestone field, you'll see now that it's set for appointment set. Okay, great. I'm going to go back one. Whenever I move it, say I've got the appointment set, and then I've gone ahead and met with them. Well, now I can move it to met, but we've not yet got the agreement signed. Well, I can double click on Ellen again now, and I can see that it's changed to appointment met. Now, one thing that we have recently changed and made this a lot more powerful is each of the choices in your milestone section. If you come down here to the important dates, we now have date fields for those choices. So as each time I changed that value from whatever choice it was to the next choice, it went ahead and assigned it the date timestamp that goes along with it. So the important part of that is that now I can set up routines that happen at the point at which that choice happens. So if I set my appointment, the appointment set, appointment met, or whatever, maybe I want it to do something. I want it to check the next appointment date and send out reminders or whatever. Each one of these choices, as they happen, can run automatically those routines that make up that choice's actions. So making sure that you go through that. The whole point of this, the whole point of the pipeline is just to move that person through that pipeline, making sure that they don't get forgotten about, make sure that you get to each step. And along the way, if for whatever reason, Ellen here, maybe she says, yeah, I'm not, we're no longer interested or whatever, I can click on the little menu here, the little more menu, and change the status to maybe something that's off of the screen, part of the pipeline, so it moves it off. So keeping your names in your pipeline well organized helps you identify, who am I working with, what stage are they, what milestone are they at, and just keeping a good visual of the different parts and pieces. Now, let's say a new lead comes in, and your goal, number one, is to get a call at least to them as quickly as possible, at least a text message or an email or something where you've done some kind of communication with them. Hopefully you're calling them. But let's say a lead does come in and you don't call them. So what happens with those types of people? Well, in the past, you could just lose them, and we want to prevent that. So what I've done is I've created this missed milestone widget, which allows you to set up the different key milestones that's important to you. Not all of these have to be set up this way, but basically what it does is this looks at the leads that come in with a milestone of new. When did that new setting get set? And if it's been over X number of days, it shows up as a count item. Okay, so I don't have any that are over 2 days old that are brand new. But I do have somebody that I attempted a call, but I did not complete. I didn't get a call completed. I may have called them, but I didn't actually connect. So what that does then is that as I'm changing my milestones, even though it's not creating an activity in the calendar, that's kind of, we could set up a reminder in the calendar that says, hey, call this person, and it could show up as a past due item. But we all know how many activities we have on our calendar and how many times you have just like this where you've got 91 activities. Where do I even begin? And people start falling through the crack. We want to stop that. We want to prevent that. In order to do that, we can set up these missed milestone items. And the way you do that, click on the little gear, you can give it a title, in this case, new leads. And what I'm doing is I'm checking this milestone new changed. So this is that new date field that we've added that says the milestone was changed to new. And whenever a milestone is changed to new, which you can choose the choice here, which choice each one of these milestones can have their own little choice. So not only am I checking the date field, but I'm also checking the status. And I say, if it's been set and the date in this field is over 2 days old, realistically, 1 day would probably be better. But if it's over 1 day old, then I need a counter on that. I need to identify that person and bring them up. In this case, we're doing the same thing for the milestone call attempted. When was it changed? And if the date for that call attempted is 1 day more than the current date, and the status is still call attempted, then pull up that person in the list. So there's two parts of this field that we're actually looking at, or this record. We're looking at the status. Is the status still call attempted? And is the date of that record 1 day or more old? If those two conditions are met, then it adds that person to the list. So it's kind of a countdown list of people that I need to get hold of. Now, if the date is older, but I've changed my status, then I'm all good. It removes it from the list. So the whole point of this is to work through your statuses of your milestone statuses and progressively moving them through the list.
We create also a routine where even if you would put them on manually, can create put them on new and also put them on the call list.
Absolutely, yes. So the point is we're looking at individual records. So I'm going to go to this one here, just this one record here, and take a quick look. So there's two things that it's looking at, and it really doesn't matter how you deal with it. What we're actually doing is you can create a field in here. We do have a field here for like new lead, and we can manually assign that. But technically now, because of the change that I've made, if a milestone is set to new, it's going to automatically add the status, the milestone status new date on there for us automatically. So just by changing that status, it can assign a date. Whenever that date is assigned, a routine can be kicked off and done something with. So if you set your milestone date to new, if you set up a routine off of milestone new changed, then you can have it add to the call list, or set an appointment, or whatever you want to within the routine to help remind you or your team members that this needs to be done. This is just, again, we're trying to help you guys prevent leads from falling through the cracks. This is probably the number one thing that as a coach to real estate agents over the 35 years I've been doing this, the biggest problem that people have is not a lead problem typically, because you've got so many people in your database, you've got so many people coming in from websites and stuff like that already. The biggest problem is you don't have the systems in place to continually following up with them, and or you're letting them fall through the cracks. So somebody that is a good lead doesn't get contacted quick enough, and some other agent gets it. That's the truth of the business. And so what we're trying to do is give you guys the tools to prevent those things from happening.